Hello, 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 guys. Yes, it is I. It is Andy Sanders, and today we're going to do Learn to Draw Your Own Superhero Team. We are going to be doing this today. It's going to take around about 45 minutes, and I'm going to be showing you how to make your own guys and girls as superheroes that can come and save the day. Now, I know a few folk that have been saying, can we do a superhero that's got this power? And can we do a superhero that's got that power? And there's lots and lots of different ideas that we have all got for doing a superhero team. But the reason that this particular session today is very, very special is because you guys are not going to end up with something that looks exactly like what I do. Instead, you are going to choose what your characters look like. So, for example, you might decide that you're going to have, say, this young lady up here who I've done in pink and zapping the bad guy with laser bolts. You might decide to do that. Or you might decide that this guy is going to be, say, a superhero guy flying in the sky. He's not going to be in pink. Maybe you'll do him in stripes, or maybe you'll do him in dots or something like bubbles. And he could be shooting a water jet instead. And so the reason this is special is because I will show you how to do the basics for each of these characters. They'll all be fighting the same big scary monster because he's quite nice and easy and fun to draw. But the super important bit is that you guys will be able to customize it and tweak it and change it yourself. So with that in mind, guys, it's very nice to see you guys all here. It's very nice to have you joining in. I hope you've all got your pens and your papers at the ready. I'm going to do a couple of little shout outs today just to a couple of guys that are starting. So we've got Harry, Riley and Ollie. It's their first time today, so hello guys, I hope you're going to have fun. And Andrew is joining in for the first time too. I hope you guys are really going to enjoy this. So if you have your pens and your paper at the ready, that's great. And do remember as well, if you find it easiest to draw it in pencil and then go after it in pen, because that's what I always did whenever I started drawings, then do that. Do it in pencil, and then if you go wrong, you can get your rubber out and then use that end and go scribble, 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 and everything gets better and is wonderful again. Okay, so I will do it in black pen, and the reason I do it in black pen is just because I don't have time to do it in pencil and go over it. It'd take me twice as long. So instead, let's get started, and we're going to be doing this superhero scene, and we're going to be customizing things as we go. I will also be telling you folks a few little tips and tricks that you can hopefully remember, and I'll also make a couple of mentions just to previous sessions that I've done as well. We should all be able to see this video. Sorry, see the bottom of my screen on the video, on the bottom of my page here. And so what I would like you folks to do, I would like you guys to get your pen, and we're going to start, if you imagine the very bottom middle of your page is about here, we're going to go a little bit to one side. We're going to go a little bit this way to the left, okay? And we're going to put a tiny little mark. So if you imagine there's the middle, I'm going to put a mark just a bit to one side. And it's quite important it's not in the middle because we need to have enough space for everything. And this is going to be the edge of our supervillain. Our supervillain today is a big scary blob. As you can imagine, he's very, very hungry. He wants to eat everything that's going all around, and he's going to be eating one of our heroes. I don't know if you actually saw on the picture that I had drawn earlier, but yeah, my favourite superhero is actually in the bad guy's tummy. So here we go. What we need to do is start off with our line and go wibble, wobble, wiggly woggle, and we're just going up on an angle like this. And when we get not far up, probably about a quarter of the way up the page, so about there, we're going to stop. And the reason we're stopping is that this wiggly woggly line is going to be the bad guy's tummy. And to make it look like he's got a big mouth, we're going to put a really big lip in, okay? And the big lip is going to have a little line that goes along here like this. Hi, Alfie. Hi, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today. And this line here is going down ever so slightly. Okay, it's not perfectly horizontal, but it just goes down a little bit. And really importantly, this I love doing 3D, as everybody knows. I'm going to put a little bit of the line going the other way too, so it goes just a little bit beyond. Now, the reason this is important is because it's going to give us this lip here, and it will help to make it look like he's got a really substantial, big, chunky lip. Okay, and that's what we've just created. So there we go. We've done our that underside of our lip. Now, look, we've got our wiggly woggly line and the bottom of our lip. We're going to do the rest of it. And here's how we do it. I'm going to do the first bit. This is really easy. This bit is just a backwards letter C. It's going to start underneath the bottom of the lip, and it's going to curl around and up and over the top. Okay? If it's a perfect C, that's great. If it's a little bit misshapen like mine, doesn't matter. Still good. Hi, Sally Holman and Hannah Fell. Hello, hi guys, nice to see you. And I will say when we need to do C's quite a lot because they're a really good shape for making things look curvy in 3D. And then this bad guy's mouth is now going to go along. It's going to follow the same sort of direction, going down a bit because he's a grumpy bad guy. If he was happy, his mouth would be going up, but he's not. He's a grumpy baddie. And it's then going to come round, and we're going to do a big letter C here, going all the way up, like that. So you can see there. There's my letter C. And then it's going to come up and back, gently back down like that, okay? Now the reason for that is that this is his mouth. And he wants to look a little bit disgusted, which is why his mouth is curling down. You might remember when I did my alien session many weeks ago, that we had an alien who was a lot more jolly. He looks a little bit similar, but you can see there the effect that you get if you do your mouth curving the other way. So if it curves like that, jolly mouth. Curves like this, grumpy mouth. Okay. Hi, Tommy and Johannes and Esme. Hello. Hi, Zach and Noah. Lovely to have you joining us too. And as you can see, I've gone around about halfway up the page here. This is as far as we've got. Okay. So not too far up the page. If you've gone a little bit too high, it doesn't matter. It's not a problem. But we're going to put in a tongue now. And the tongue, to make it again look a little bit 3D, we do a curve. So this is like a little hill. It starts over here at the back of the mouth, goes up and then down like that. Okay. It doesn't join up, and that's super important. The reason it doesn't join up is that we're going to do another curve. And in fact, you can use this technique to draw hills. So it's the same technique as if you're drawing a hill. Like that. Okay. And there you go. You can see he's got a tongue. We need to give him teeth. He's going to have teeth on the top of his mouth. And here's a customization thing. So like I said to you, you guys can choose what your bad guy's going to look like today. If you want him to look like mine, then what we can do is do curvy teeth. Okay. But if you want him to look like he's a really bad guy, you can do pointy teeth instead. And all that is the letter V. Okay. And if you want to give him super pointy teeth, you just have to have the V's overlapping like this. Every time you do a V, halfway down the next line, you do that. Okay. So I'm going to do mine nice and curvy, so it's more like the letter U, and this is how we do it. I do a letter U and another letter U, and each time all these letter U's are just overlapping each other. That's all it is. But if you want to do sharp pointy teeth, like I say, you can customize it and you can make your teeth sharp and pointy. That's fine. Okay. We are going to have to do a couple of other things too for this guy. As you can see, he's about to get hit with something. I said at the very start, you guys will customize this. If you want this guy up here, well, this lady up here to be a guy, that's fine. I'll show you how to do that. And if you want to be, say, shooting, she could have the power of the seas and be shooting water bolts at him instead of laser beams. That's fine, okay? I'll show you how to do that. But we need to leave a really important space there because that is where he's going to be getting hit. So right now, at that top lip, we're going to leave a gap, okay? And we're then going to continue here upwards with this guy's head. So here we go. I could draw my line there, but I'm not going to. And instead, after my little gap, I'm then going to curve it round up and down like that. And that is where we're going to leave the splash or the splatter mark or the zap mark. And this is going to be where his eyes go, okay? Now his eyes are going to sit on this little, on this big curve, I should say, and the curve you can see it's just about as wide as his mouth, and the eyes are round, but they're going to be circles. But because he's got this big squidgy head, the eyes are going to go partially behind the eye. Sorry, behind the little bump on his nose, and again over here, same thing. Now, we want this guy to look really mad too, like he's really worked up about being attacked by a bunch of superheroes. And just in case any of you guys are wondering how far am I from the top of my page, I've got around about a quarter of it left. So there's a quarter, there's a half. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way up, and I've still got a quarter of the space left on my page there. Okay. If you've run out of space and you're at the top of your page, don't worry. My advice, as is every week, I would just say to you guys, go and get an extra sheet of paper. And if you've run out of space, put it underneath your drawing. So put it underneath like that, and when it pokes out over the top, you can then add the extra bits on your drawing. Don't try and squidge things onto the top of your paper. Always get an extra sheet if you need it. Right, we're going to make him look really mad. So what we do is we do a diagonal line, and 2 diagonal lines. They're going to go right from the centre of his eyes up like this, because he's really mad. Okay. Hi Neiman, Cillian as well, and Alicia and Alyssa. Hi, nice to have you guys joining us. And these lines, we're going to have another one on the other side that's going to go up like this too, because he's really grumpy. There's one extra trick that not a lot of people know when it comes to drawing guys and putting emotions into characters. But if you want to make somebody look not just mad, but really, really intense about it, like they're really going to do something, you also draw the bottom eyelids and not just the top ones. And the way you do that, you don't do the same ones, you don't do them on a big sharp angle. Instead, you do them as gentle curves that are going to go across the bottom of the eye, like this. So they start out at the same point, right in the middle, but they gently follow the curve like that. They're not straight ones like the top, they gently curve out like that, okay? And it just makes the character look that extra bit worked up, almost like they're going to start crying, okay? And funny enough, if I had a team of superheroes beating me up, I'd probably be crying too. So we need to give him some eyes now, and his pupils, I'm going to do 2 little curves, a little letter C here, that's one eye, and a little letter C over here too, but this one's backwards. Okay, and we're now starting to get our monster looking like an actual monster with eyes and mouths and things. And to make him look believable, like he's sort of actually there in the flesh, we can put in the corner of his eye a little semicircle, and that makes it look like there's light reflecting off his eye. And ditto over this side. Okay, if you've got a black pen, or you've got a nice thick chunky pencil, you can then colour this bit in, or you can do this bit afterwards, doesn't really matter. But there you go, you can see how we're getting on. We need to do the outside of his eyes too, and for my guy, I made these bits red, and again, it's just another big chunky C, like this. And if you want to, you can add details here as well, and this would be where you say, really carefully, draw lines that radiate out, almost like sunbeam lines when you draw the sun. These lines are going to be aiming towards the middle of his eyes. And when you colour those in, whatever colour you want, it always just looks that extra bit better, just for having some little detailed lines in there too. Okay. So far so good. We're almost finished with our monster. He looks like he's a big squidgy mass. He's going to have a head here, and in my drawing, I have a superhero sat on top of him. Now, this superhero here is actually a robot, and he's very quick and easy to do, so it won't take that long. But the forehead is going to be a squiggly, squaggly. It's going to start on the right-hand eye over here. It's going to be squiggly and squaggly, just like the line that we did at the beginning. And it wants to be something like this. We'll leave a little gap where we can see our superhero hand gripping onto him. And then when we come back down here, I'm going to stop just there, just before the edge of my page. So I've left a little gap where my superhero is going to be holding onto him. And then the reason I've left a little gap just here, right at the edge, is because he needs to have a big tentacle. And tentacles are very easy to do. I'm just going to do a line that comes down here like this. And another one that goes up there. Okay, and those lines are going to be the tentacles that he's got. And here's a really cheeky thing. If you're ever doing an octopus, you want to make him look huge, don't make him fill your page, make him bigger. And this is what I mean by this. When you've got a tentacle that shoots off the side, you can have it curl around the top of your page too, like this. And then you don't have to see the rest of it. You get the idea that it's going to be going further along, and it can then come down somewhere, just if there's the side of his head, just past the side of his head, somewhere like this. And it makes it look like you've drawn a picture that is so big it can't be contained on the page. Okay, it's a really nifty trick, and actually, if I pull out my award-winning picture book, got to unwrap this one. Just to show you what I mean by this. This is something I did when I got my first book published. To make the boat in my book look bigger than it really was, I deliberately had it going over the edge of the page. And when I had a dinosaur who turned up to try and steal this little kid's juicy drink, I had him getting squished by a moon. But again, the moon was so big, it gets chopped off the edge of the page. So sometimes deliberately drawing an object to make it look big, like an octopus tentacle or whatever, it can be really, really effective to make it so that it's deliberately bigger than everything else and it doesn't fit in. Okay. Hi there to Leo and Ross, and to Henry and Grace and Phoebe and Rory. Hi guys. Apologies if I don't say hello to everyone, because I get a bit waffly and I talk about how to do the drawings. It doesn't mean that I can always look at my screen and see who's saying hi, but thank you everyone that comes along and joins in. Okay. Okay, here we go. The next thing, just to make him look like a slimy, nasty monster, we put some really thin circles on his tentacles like this, and it just makes him look that little bit extra sort of amphibian-y or froggy. And you can put them on like that. They're very easy to do. Those of you that have been with me for many, many weeks will remember I always talk about drawing circles in 3D. If you see a coin from above, it's perfectly round, but when you see it on an angle, it's an ellipse, which is that sort of shape. And those ellipses are exactly what we're putting on here. Okay, up there if I need to. Okay. You can also add a couple of extra ones on the back of his neck as well. That just makes him look a little bit slimy and nasty. So our robot, super duper easy. We can do a square on a little angle here, and that was a little gap that we left. The reason we left that gap was so that we could put that hand on there, and we can make it look, if we put a little gentle curve on there, like he is that's basically his fingers and then the rest of his hand there. So fingers here and the rest of the hand up there. I'll turn it this way up so it's easier for you guys to see as well. I'm then going to put, it's not a perfect straight line. Instead, it starts going out and gets wider at the top, and then comes back around and gets gets thinner at the bottom. I don't know what kind of shape you describe that as. It's kind of like the letter N, but it's wider at the top than at the bottom. And then for this, what we do is we put some little curves, like little hills, just in a row, like that. Okay, and that's going to be our robot's arm. I have a whole session about how to draw robots and dinosaurs. That was my first one that I did, so if you enjoy this one, you can check it out. Just go and see it on my webpage, on Facebook, on my videos. I've got loads of ones. I've done princesses, robots, all the rest of it too. I've just done here an extra little C. That's his body. It goes all the way around past the back of his arm. And then to do his head, what we do is we do a letter U, but it's a really wide letter U. So it starts over there, goes down, goes along, and then comes back up like that. So it's super duper wide. You then put a horizontal line across the top like that, and that gives you the robot's mouth. And then for the rest of the robot's head, we do the opposite. So it's a letter N, but again, really wide like this. And if you want to customize this robot, what I'd say is don't draw him any further at this point, because you might decide you want to go and add some antennas or things too. Okay, so if you're thinking, actually, I want to do him differently, I want to give him like a grabbing hand or an arm or whatever, go off and watch the extra video that I did, the very first one on how to draw robots and dinosaurs, and you could then finish him off. The one thing that I will do now, I'm going to put a couple of eyes on him. So the way to do that is to do a really wide O like that, and another wide O over here. And then in this, you draw to the right hand side, you draw a black O like this, and a smaller black O over here, okay? And you can even, if you're very careful, add a couple of grumpy lines like that to make it look like he's really concentrating. Okay, the same sort of things that we did on the robot. For his arm, over here, we're going to give him a straight arm. But like I say, if you guys want to customize it and make it your own, you don't have to give him this kind of an arm. It's two lines going diagonally upwards. And then this bit, it's really tricky to describe, but the best way I can describe it is to say, you don't have it touching. Instead, what we do is we draw a circle, but we leave 4 or 5 gaps equally spaced out all the way around, like that. Okay? So it's a circle, but there's 4 or 5 little gaps there. The reason that we need those gaps is because we're going to be drawing tiny little letter C's. In fact, they're kind of like raindrops. That's probably a better way to describe them. Raindrops that are all pointing away from the center of your circle. And the reason for that is this is a mace. It's a sharp, spiky ball, and this robot superhero has got one that he is using to club the bad guy on the head with. Okay? You can then, once you've done that, join up the rest of your arm, And you can do what we did before, putting the little curls on there too. Okay. He needs some feet as well. So, I mean, if you wanted to put wheels on again, go and check out the other video that I've done, because you could customize it and put those on. But if you want to add some feet right now and you want to draw those on there, that's fine. It's just a line going down like that. And then it's going to curl around and just touch his bum like that with a little letter C. Okay. And you can draw a line across and it looks like that's our robot superhero. You can put a couple of rivets on to make it look like he's bolted together. So those are just little circles that go underneath his chin. Okay, and I should say as well, guys, if any of this is going a little fast or you know, you're struggling to keep up, you can always watch this video again afterwards. That's not a problem. This video does go onto my Facebook page and you guys can watch it back. Okay, I think we're doing pretty well here, guys. I think we're doing a pretty good job of things. Our robot is almost finished. The one thing I haven't done, and I'm going to come back to this guy at the end, the one thing I haven't done is put the superhero in his tummy. Now, this is a superhero whose superpower is that, well, it's just that he carries massive sticks of dynamite with him. It's really easy to draw him. All he is a very simple character, but you do the lines a little bit wiggly and woggly, and you don't join them all up. And when you do that, it looks like he's stuck in jelly, okay? And any minute now, his dynamite's going to explode, and then the bad guy's done for, okay? Anyway, right. I brought this back for another reason. I also wanted to show you the other guys that we're going to be doing. And like I said, you can customize these folks, and you could, for instance, have a female robot Terminator here who's got wheels for legs. Or you could do, you know, this girl with a different haircut, or you could have this as a guy instead of a girl. It's completely up to you. This whole session is about you creating your own superhero team. And just before I put my pen on the paper, I'm going to tell you one super important thing. If you guys want to get a job as an illustrator, the best thing you can do is to draw your own superheroes. It's much, much better to come up with your own than to draw Captain America or Iron Man or the Incredible Hulk, or even, you know, exactly the same ones as what I do. It's really important to make your own, because when you go for a job, when you get older, like if you want to be an illustrator for a job, it's all well and good showing them that you can draw Iron Man and Spider-Man and whoever else, but they want to see that you've got your own creativity and your own ideas. So this is why today's session is extra important, because I want you guys to think about what your superheroes could be and what they could do. Okay. Right. So I think we're doing pretty good. We need to now have a superhero here right in the middle of the page who's been captured by the bad guy, and they're going to be tangled up in a tentacle. As you can see here, I've got this young lady here who's summoning lightning bolts from the sky and zapping him. If you guys want to do something similar, here's how we do it. That lip that we had, okay, that we said that was around about a quarter of the way up our page. What we're going to do here is a little, it's like a quarter of a circle. It starts off here, and then it's going to go upwards like that. Okay? And it's going around about in line with the top of the mouth, roughly about there. Okay? And at this point, I'll put in a couple of little dots just so you can see what's going to happen. If you guys wanted to put any of these into under this line and going along it, you can see there, look, he's got the little spots, the kind of ones that we've done on the rest of our line too. So that lets you know that later on we'll be doing a line down here too. Okay. But right now we're going to put in this lady who's been captured, or it could be a guy. It's up to you. Again, it can be your own superhero team. It could be all boys, all girls, or anything in between. And what we do, we start off over here and we draw ourselves a C. Nice big chunky one this time, not a thin one, because it needs to be something thick that looks like his really big tentacle. And this C is going to then, once it gets to back to sort of in line with where our line was, it's going to go over here. And that's taken us to the middle of the page. Then it's going to start coming down and it's going to be a C the other way. Like that. Okay. And here is our superhero captured, and they're going to be wrapped up in this tentacle. And to make it look like they're really well and truly stuck, I'm not going to join this bit up. It's kind of like, well, this is almost like a sausage or a rectangle with squished corners, yeah? I'm going to put their feet in, like they're really stuck together and can't get away. And the way I'm going to do that is I've left a little gap here, and I'm going to do two little bumps right next to each other. Here's one bump, and then here's the other. Okay? And that little bump there, those two bumps there even, are going to be her shoes. And you can see here, if I do one, I'll do it nice and big and round. And in fact, it looks like it's gone over its allowed space. It's intruding on the other shoe. Well, that's okay, because again, we're making it look a little bit 3D by putting one shoe in front of the other, a bit like we did with the teeth. And you can imagine these two little, they're almost like pear shapes, are overlapping. There you go. And then, to make it look properly like a pair of shoes, we need to put the soles on them. And the soles go like this. They're kind of pear shapes too. And they start off at the top, but then they come in and then get wider. And that's how you draw something that looks like a pair of soles. Sorry, a pair of feet with soles on. And I think actually that I've probably over-egged it. Probably ever so slightly gone too crazy with that, but there we go. And then to make it look like the bottom of the feet, what we can do, we put some lines across like that. Perfectly straight lines. And if you want to here, you could always add, I'm just putting a little curve in there. Makes it look like she's got shoes. I'm going to give her black shoes like that. But you guys, you can make them whatever colour you want. If you want to make her a hero with 3 feet, you could do. You could have 3 feet stuck in there instead. I'll add a couple more little monster dots on there too. And I can also add a line now joining up and showing where her tentacle is going. Sorry, the monster's tentacle is going, like that. And the trick is as well, make the tentacle thicker at near him, and it wants to get thinner as it goes further away from his body. So thick here and thin here. She's really wrapped in nice and tight. She can't get away. So on top, we need to add an extra little tentacle wrap. And the way we do that, same sort of shape. It'd be like a little C over here, curves all the way over the top, and then a backward C on this side. Okay. Hi Gemma and Miles, by the way, and Leo and Ross. Good to have you joining us. And hello Amber Dawson. Lovely to have you guys. Put another little couple of dots in there, just sort of showing that that's his tentacles. And then this is going to be the head of our superhero who's been captured. Okay. Now this is super important. If you want your superhero who is captured to be a guy, here's what you do. I'm going to draw a really quick bald-headed guy here, okay? And I'm doing this on a bit of paper to show you. Men, traditionally, if you're drawing them, have very square jaws. That means that when you're drawing them, you almost draw a perfect rectangle corner here for them, okay? And that's traditional. I don't quite know when this came about, but it's a very strong, stable trope for superheroes in superhero comics. You give them very angular features, okay? Whereas if you want to draw a superhero woman who's been captured, you don't draw a square jaw. Instead, you know, like I talk about doing my letter C's, you do this kind of shape instead. And it gives them a more delicate, softer feel to them. And any time that you're drawing either women or kids, then it's traditional to give them that softer jaw. I'm not saying you have to, but it's just something that you need to know about. And then obviously if I was going to give them, you know, a haircut or whatever, that's fine. I could, again, do 2 little eyes here. And let me think, right, I'm just going to very quickly do this. There's a little ear or whatever. And then she could have a hair going back, ponytail, etc. Okay. So you can see there, and this is super quick because it's just on my little extra poster note. You can see the difference there between, say, a manly square jaw or a softer, curvier, feminine jaw. So it's up to you which one you do. And for all of your characters, sorry, I will finish this little girl off even though she's on a post-it note. Let's give her the respect she deserves. For all the characters here, if you want to make them feminine, do nice round curves. If you want to make them look manly and masculine, give them almost like a perfect rectangle. It's up to you, all right? So I'm going to draw woman, man. Okay, and that's the traditional way, typical way of drawing superheroes, so that they are like that. So I'm going to do a lady here, a lady who's got captured, and I'm going to do a nice gentle curve. It's going to be over here like this. And that's just going to be where her chin is getting tucked under the, hi from Harry, hi Harry, and hi Ruben too. Lovely to see you guys, that's great. That's her little cheek there. And I'm going to give her a fringe. Now the way I'm going to do this fringe is like so. I'm going to put in her eyes so that I can see and so that I know where her eyes are going to be. And I'm also going to put in a little eyebrow like she's unimpressed. The way to do that is to start down, go up and down again. Okay. And so with this pair of eyes here, above the center of your eyes, so up there, what you do is you then do this little curve that comes out. It's like a quarter of a circle, maybe just a bit more than a quarter of a circle. And then we do zigzag shapes. And it curves round like so. And that fringe, you can add a couple of little extra bits on if you want. Like if you wanted to put one more on there, on that side, like it's poking around the side of her head, you can do. That fringe is then going to form the basis of where the rest of her head will go. And if you do a curve around this side, like so, you can see there, this big curve is the back of her head. I've done an extra little one here. That's where her hair stops. And again, I could do the same over here. And these little extra, almost like daggers that I'm drawing, the little sharp pointy bits, that just shows where her hair stops, her haircut is. You could then colour that in whatever you want. But if you wanted him to be a bloke, like I say, you could just draw him as a bald-headed bloke who's been captured instead. Really super duper easy. She's going to have her fist in the air, summoning a lightning bolt on this dude, showing she's not completely helpless. And the way she's going to do that is by doing right in the middle of her head, so halfway across, right in the middle, I'm going to have this shape. Okay, it's almost like a triangle that's not quite joined up. Okay, so I just started drawing that there, and that's because this is her glove. And on this side, there'll be a little circle, a little one, like so. And then we're going to do a really big circle. Okay, and that's going to go all the way around like that. She's got a big, powerful fist there. Okay, and with this fist, she is summoning a lightning bolt. Now, I will say again, a quick pause at this point. If you wanted to, there's nothing to stop you from, instead of, say, giving her a lightning bolt, you could give her something else instead. You could give her, like, a trident or something. So again, I'm jumping to one side. Woo. You could, if you wanted to, give her, say, a big, just a long shape like that on one side, and then on the other, you could give her a spear. We looked at tridents the other week when we did mermaids. But dead easy. You could give her something like that instead if you wanted, or a spear or a sword or anything at all. What you put in her hand at this point is up to you. And if you're thinking, hey, I really want to add a sword, again, go back and check the week that we did princesses and knights and stuff again. All those videos are there. So if you want to give her a sword, that's fine. Give her a sword. If you want to give her the lightning bolts, follow this next bit with me, okay? Now, the way to do the lightning bolts is like this. It needs to be ziggy and zaggy. It wants to start off just where her head is. And these shapes want to be sort of semi-random. If you're working with a thick pen like me, it pays to do them a little bit thinner here. And if you're doing it in pencil, that's probably a safe bet because you might go wrong. And all it is kind of jags in and out every now and again. And you don't want to be predictable with it. You don't want to have it sort of everything going off in a straight line perfectly away from it. That would look like a shining light. Instead, the fact that we are doing things that are a bit wiggly and woggly and you never quite know where you're going to go next, that is how you get the feel of lightning. Okay? So some of these lines are longer than others. Some of them are short. And again, up here, same sort of thing. So all it is zigzag lines, and when you colour this in, colour it in something like a nice bright yellow or an orange. And then we're going to have it so that this lightning bolt is being summoned from the sky, and it's going to go something like this. Zigzag, zigzag, all the way up, and again, all the way back down. Now, when it comes to doing the zigzags here and doing it like it's coming from the sky, this is kind of hard to describe, but you want to have it so that each line that you're drawing here has got an opposite, one that's going past it. So here's this one here, it's going to have this one which goes along next to it. This one here, it's going to have that one. This one here, it's going to have that one. They're not perfectly in line, but that kind of thing can make it look like it is a lightning bolt coming from the sky, okay? And then we'll have a few little extra squeaks of lightning coming out from her hands. Forking out like that. There we go. And it looks like she's summoning the lightning bolt, which is zapping this dude. You could also, if you want to, have her zapping everyone else, you know, zapping him on the eyes, etc. too, or zapping somebody else if there are other bad guys behind him. All sorts of things like that can be done. Okay. Right, we've still got our little space here. That's where our bad guy's going to get hit. And like I say, that could be a splash of water, or it could be, say, a laser bolt, or whatever you guys want it to be. Hello, Charlie and Ruby. Good to see you get back for the third session. And hello, Lexi again. Somebody has just asked, I'm really sorry, that's somebody asked to see the man's head. So it's kind of like a rectangle, but you have very straight edges, as you can see there. Okay, and the corners are tiny little curves. That's very different to the woman. Oops, pull my woman head back. Somebody was just asking about this. There we go. You can see that one. It's a much more gentle curve all the way around. There's virtually no perfectly straight edges on it. Okay, it's all curvy and gentle. So far so good, chaps. I think we're doing well. We've got 2 superheroes and we've got 1 bad guy. They're only little though, so they're still a bit outnumbered. Now the next bit then, I did say we start off the bad guy just a little bit to the side of the middle. And here's why. We're going to have an extra superhero at the bottom here. This superhero, because not all superheroes, you know, are super beautiful. There's this myth that superheroes have to be gorgeous. No, they don't. You could look like the back end of a bus and you could still do the right thing every day. And that's super important. So make sure that you have a guy on your team like this too, who's going to be kind of like a little demon figure too. He looks like he might be a bad guy, but in reality, it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters what you do. That's what makes you a superhero. And that's who we're going to draw next. So to draw him, we need to have a tentacle that he's going to be hanging off. And this tentacle should go, if you think, you know, we said this was about half the page, this tentacle should go around about, from the halfway point there, should go around about 3/4 of the way along our page. So it stops around about there, okay? And to do it, we're going to start off here. We're going to come up. And when we get to the top bit, so the top of this tentacle, that's where we're going to leave a big gap. And this is where our superhero is going to go. And then we're going to imagine it keeps going. And then it's going to curve round and down. And it's going to stop around about there, okay? And that gives us plenty of room, look. Plenty and plenty of room for our final superhero is going to be down here in the corner, okay? Again, just to make it clear what it is, I'm going to put a few extra little dots and splodges in there to show that it's a tentacle. Okay, you guys can do that if you want to. And for this guy, I'm going to draw his head first. Now, his head, I very rarely do this, but I will turn paper. His head is going to be here, and he's going to be biting the guy in an angle. To show things that look a little bit dynamic and like they're in movement, it's often a good idea to put them on an angle rather than having them perfectly straight up on your page. So I'm going to have him, and he's going to be sinking his teeth into this guy. So where you've got, you know, this imaginary line which we've left blank, where you've got that space, this is where we put in right in the middle of it, we put in a horizontal line. When I say horizontal, it's horizontal for me now, or thereabouts. They're horizontal. And it's pretty much in line with where the tentacle would go. And that line there, this one that I've done right in the middle, this is going to be his jaws, where his teeth are going to be sinking right into the tentacles of the bad guy. And because they're sinking in to the bad guy's tentacles, we can do another, it's not quite as wide, it's ever so slightly shorter, but right underneath it, that there is going to be where his teeth are going and sinking in. And to make it look like they're his teeth, I'm going to draw some sharp diagonal lines here. And these teeth are kind of like the V's that we did here, or the U's that you might have done over here. But importantly, we're not drawing the bottom of them. The bottom of them is getting chopped off by this line here, where it's going right into his into the bad guy's tentacle. Okay. And so with this little bit here, we've got the line on top and the line underneath and the teeth in the middle. We are then going to take the left-hand side. I'm going to do a little C like this that goes up. And it's gently up above going to form a point. And this point is going to stop slightly to one side of the middle. So if you imagine we've drawn this shape here and there's the middle, we're going to stop a little bit towards one side. And at that point, we're gently going to come down all the way in line with this bit over here. You're about to see why. This is going to be his eyes, and to make it look like we're looking at him on an angle, we need to give this guy a little point for his nose here. You can draw 2 little circles for his nose, look. And then our eyes are going to curl up and back and round, so a big backwards C that then comes down and aims right back for his nose. And then when it gets there, it goes up again to the same height and around like that, okay? And if you wanted to, you could give him like the angry eyelids like we did over here, but you don't have to. For this guy, let's just do 2 little circles. And here we have it. Again, the light looks like it's biting off him. His teeth, in fact, do you know what? I might add an extra tooth over here. His teeth are really sinking into this guy. Okay. We want him to look like he's got some real intensity to him as well. So we're going to put an extra little curve. This is his eyelids. No, sorry, his eyebrows, I beg your pardon. Like there. There's one. And then down here like that. There's the other one. Okay. And that just makes him look that extra bit grumpy. Like he's really focused. We're going to give him, he's going to have a bald head, but we're going to put a couple of little horns on too. So the way to do this, to do a big curve all the way around from his eyebrow, round, and it's going to join up with the top here, where he's chewing. We can then put 2 little points on his head, one there and one there. And these are his horns. He's only got little ones. And like we did before as well when we were doing these details over here, you can put a couple of little curves on them too if you want. So we've got our little demon guy here. We're going to give him some little sort of... I don't want to always draw the same superheroes, by the way. As you can see, like some of these guys, they're humans. But I think it's nice every now and again to vary it up and put somebody in that's sort of like a little bit of a demon. And so to that end, what we do, we give him some little fingers. And these fingers are going to be like a set of little sausages with claws on the end. And so here's how we do them. From the side of his eye, and for you guys, it's going to depend where you've got your tentacle here for the octopus. Sorry, octopus, for the bad guy. But where mine is, I'm going to start here. I'm going to do 1 curly sausage like that. And then I'm going to do another one next to him. And I've managed to leave just enough space to squeeze 3 in. If you have enough space for 2 or 5 or whatever, do what you want. I mean, this guy's a demon, so he can look however you want him to. Hi, Alfie and Braintree. Nice to have you joining us today, guys. That's lovely. Yeah, lovely to see you. We're going to be doing another set of little claws over here. Same thing, okay? This time, I'm going to start off on the little side bit here where the tentacle is. I'm going to do this here. It's going to curl all the way around, like so. And then another sausage, and another sausage. Oh, barely enough room for that sausage that time. And we're going to make him look like he's got some claws. You draw the easy way to do claws is to do circles, big chunky circles right on the end of his fingers, and it looks like the minute like he's just got nail varnish on, black nail varnish, okay? But then from there you put little black V's underneath, okay? And that makes him look like he's got claws. Okay, there we go. We need to do the underside of this tentacle too, and we need to do his little feet. So let's see about popping those in there. For me, I'm going to have to go off the edge of my page here, but you know, if you've got the space, if you think actually to have a tentacle that's the same thickness as this, I'm going to be drawing straight off the side of my monster. That's cool. But for me, I'm going to have to start somewhere around here. And at this point, just underneath him, I'm going to stop, because this is where his feet are going to go. And for his feet, it's quite easy actually. It's almost like a love heart. I'm going to start... I've left myself some space. And the reason I need that space is because I'm going to draw a love heart sort of a shape, but rather than it being to a point, instead it's going to curl around and back up like that. In fact, you know what? That is pretty love hearty. But the reason that this is I'll put a little extra backwards C in there. The reason that it's not a love heart is because on the end of it, I'm going to put a big circle, big black circle like that. And there you go. You can see his feet like he's really clinging on. Okay. You could do another foot there too if you want to. I'm just going to have it so that his other foot is somewhere just going down like that. Okay, his other foot swinging underneath. I need to put his back in as well, and I need to put his tail in, and then this little fella is done. Now, to do his back is really quite easy. Pretty much in line with the top of his eyes, I'm going to do a little C, or it would be a C, it's backwards, and it gets cut off here. Look, it's got cut off by the tentacle. The tentacle's in the way, so it's kind of like a quarter of a circle, really, isn't it? And then over here, we're going to do another little C shape. Again, we're just going to get the top of it. And for this one, this is his tail. And so for this one, we do two little C's very close to each other, like that. And then we put a triangle on the end, like so. There we go. Okay. And so we've got a superhero here who looks like a bad guy, but actually he's really pretty good. Okay. I'm glad you're enjoying this, Isabella. That's lovely. Really like to hear that. And Emma Louise Landers, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying this. That's lovely to hear. Super duper stuff. Right. So we are going to now keep going with two last superheroes. We've gone a little bit over, guys. I think we're going to be done by about 1:30, so please bear with me whilst I'm doing this for an extra 10 minutes. These two guys are customizable because with this guy, I've deliberately got a guy who hasn't got any legs. Instead, he's like a cyborg. And again, you know, superheroes are always sort of all the same, and that always winds me up when you read X-Men comics. I think it's quite nice to have the idea of, say, a superhero who's, you know, what traditionally you'd call less physically able than everyone else. So I think the idea of, say, having somebody who doesn't have functioning legs and instead he's half robot, dun dun dun. I think that's pretty cool. And for this lady up here, again, you could make her so, like I say, she shoots ice beams or whatever you want instead, or you could customize it. So going back to what we said here, you know, doesn't have to be a woman, could be a man instead. Ooh, turn that the right way up. And also, same for the cyborg. Instead, you could always have a woman instead, a lady's head on here. But you can see this guy, he's got big muscles. So we're going to have a little look at him. We're going to see about drawing him next. And in order to draw him, what we need to do is put his tracks in first, okay? And to do this, I've tried to make it so you guys hopefully have space here. You should have around about a quarter of the page left. If you don't, grab an extra sheet of paper, get it like that, and then shove it in underneath so you can keep drawing over here over the edge. Don't try and squeeze this in just for the sake of it. Always give your artwork the actual amount of room that they really need, okay? So, right behind this guy, I'm going to have some tracks coming up. And they're going to be, it looks complicated, but they're really not. It's actually a triangle. And this triangle is going to go up like this, round at the top, and then down. Okay? It's kind of a curvy one. It's not perfectly pointy. And I'm going to make it a nice thick one because if you imagine, these tracks are going to be rubber. I'm going to have to switch hands here because I've not got space. I've got something on my desk. I've got something on my desk in the way, and I'll need to move it ahead of next week's session so that I don't end up, there we go, bumping into it. So it's a really nice, thick, chunky line, and that's because this is going to be where his wheels go, okay? And so going off the edge of the page, we're going to give him these wheels. And where you've got this curve at the top, we're going to give him a round wheel that fills that space. And then underneath, it's going to be sat on top of another wheel. That wheel wants to go to around about where the middle is. And what it shows is, it gives you the idea that he's sat on a stack of these wheels that have all got rubber tread around them. Okay? I'll move up like that. To show that the wheels, we're going to be putting some little circles in the middle. That's where the axle is going to go. And if any of you guys here are really into your cars and you love hubcaps, you could customize these wheels however you see fit. If you wanted to put fancy little spokes coming out or whatever, or lines, that's fine. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's up to you. But once we've done these wheels, we then need to have a line that's going to go ever so slightly up, not perfectly horizontal, but very close to it. It's going to go along like this. And again, the guys that have done the robot series with me before will know we've done something very similar to this. This is where we have a line that goes up and then it starts to curl around and down. And this is the tracks on our robot. Halfway in between, we need to put a line down the middle like this. And the reason is he's going to have two tracks, kind of like you have a left foot and a right foot, or your car has the left tyres and the right hand side tyres. That's what he's going to have. And again, I'm going to do, turn him a page just to make it easier. He needs to have loads of tracks that are going along here. So this is the tread on his wheels. And here's a trick for you. If you want to make it look a little bit more 3D, what you do is you have them get gradually closer and closer together at the very, very top, like that. Okay? As they're curving round, they want to be getting closer and closer together. I do the same on the other side. And then at the very top, closer and closer and closer together like that. Okay? And it just makes it look a little bit more realistic and three-dimensional. You can then add as well, I should say this too, if you like me there, you've got that wheel there, you can add that. And these lines here that I'm doing, these rollers, these are going in the same direction as that top line that we did. They just go off of your circles that you did for the wheels. And again, you know, you can add colour or whatever to them, or if you wanted to make them look circular, again, you can do. It's up to you how you do it. Okay, I'm just putting some little shading in there to make it look like those things are 3D. All those circles are just going in the same direction as the wheels that I've put on here. Okay. Right. Now this guy needs to have a body, and so to achieve a body, I'm going to put right in the middle where we had the tracks, up here, a line coming up and out. And this body is going to be sat on a little rectangle like that, and then a bigger one. And again, to make it look like 3D, you can put some lines on, have them very close together towards the edge, then get more spaced out, and then very close towards the edge again as you do them like that. That's how you can make things like a disc or a coin look 3D very quickly and easily. Okay. And now we need to give this guy a body. Now, for this part, if you want to make it a super strong man, that's fine. Do that. If you want to make it into a super strong woman, that's cool as well. Do that too. To begin with, it's very, very similar. And in fact, there's only one subtle difference when it comes to doing muscular bodies. And I'm going to come on to that in a second. There's some young folks that are watching, but I'll put it this way. Basically, the only difference really is that you give the woman a bosom and then with the man, you don't. Okay, that's the only difference there is. To make these guys look super muscly, what we need to do is put the body, so it starts off here, sort of mounted onto our little wheel or base, or whatever you want to call it. That's where his body's going to go. But it needs to get progressively wider. And I'm doing little shapes like this. They're kind of, I don't know what you describe them as really. They're not quite circles, they're not letter C's. They're just little marks that gradually get further and further away from the center. Okay, and the reason for those is that that is going to be your six-pack or your muscles on the superhero here, because he's a muscly one. I'm going to put not in the middle but to one side. So if there's the middle, to one side, like a quarter of the way in, I'm going to do a line that's going straight up. And this is going to have on it, it's kind of in line with this, where I've done my little bumps, I'm going to draw little crosses on there, okay? Typically a little bit wider at the top and a little bit thinner at the bottom. Okay, and that's going to be the chiseled six-pack that superheroes tend to have. Now, if you wanted to do a woman, at this point, you would need to put, like I say, you'd need to give them a bosom rather than what we've got here. The men have what are called pectoral muscles, and they're very straightforward and easy to draw. For the women, it's not too tricky at all by any stretch of the imagination. Just going to move my trident out of the way. So wait, right, So you're giving somebody these. And then if you wanted to make it into a superhero lady, rather than having what I've got here, instead, in line with what we've just drawn here, you would then up above it have something that comes out and curves round and then goes back up like that, okay? And ditto over on the other side, it'd be a curve that comes round and it joins back up. And those want to be around about meeting just above the little line that we've done for the six-pack, okay? But it's kind of like a C, but rather than curling round here, it just goes straight off. If you want to do a girl, a super strong girl instead, that's fine, and that's how you do it. I will just leave that on the screen whilst I do the, because I'm doing a guy. I'll leave that there just so anybody can look at it. By gum, I don't know if I'm coming or going today. Just bear with me. Right, so to do my guy, I'm going to give him what we call, like I say, pectoral muscles, and so instead they're not quite as curvy. They're going to be wider than what we've already drawn so far, and they will be very straight and angular like that, okay? They might have a tiny flick up, but as you can see, straight line there, curve, straight line, kind of like when we did the manly heads. Coming off the edge of this is going to be his arm, and to make sure that we do it the right size and thickness, we need to put in the rest of his chest first. So the way I'm going to do that is just a little curve, it's just fractionally above, and that shows me where his body is going to go and where his arm is going to go. And to make somebody look like they have huge muscles, first off we need a shoulder, and that's really important. So a shoulder is a curve like this. Beg your pardon, I was not quite looking where I was going. And we need to have something that is going to then be a nice big bicep. And the trick to muscles is they all want to overlap. They want to be big and curvy and round, and they want to overlap. So here we go. This bicep is almost, if you imagine it kept going, it would almost join up here right with his body. But instead, we're going to cut it short. And this bicep is pointing our way towards the monster over there. So it's leading the way towards the monster. And again, I'm not quite happy with that line today. Make that a bit thicker and chunkier so he looks like he's got a really big strong muscle. So we've done that, and then he's going to have a glove on. I've decided this guy, because he's part cyborg, he's going to have a robotic forearm here, but you know, you guys could do what you want. If you just wanted him to be wearing a glove, he doesn't have to have this next bit. And this bit is like a gentle C, but backwards, a gentle letter C, but backwards. It's like that curve. And it wants to be, again, almost as thick as his bicep. And then it comes down to a point here, like this. And we're going to put a little thumb in here, because this is where his hand is. And he's going to have a big round circle there like that. And that is his hand punching forwards. I decided to give, in my little one, if you wanted to have him shooting a laser beam or something, don't draw this next bit, it's up to you. But if you wanted to have him shooting a little rocket, that's fine, I did that. I had him with two little lines coming off his arm, and then going straight like that. It's almost like a sausage shape, or a cigar, that sort of a thing. This is a little missile that he's about to fire. So he's kind of a bit like Iron Man. Okay. And you put a little shark's fin on the top, a shark's fin on the bottom. And then you do a teardrop in the middle like that. Okay. And that gives the illusion that it's a missile. And you always have the tip of those as red. So I'll slightly curve it like that. And there we go. Okay. And to make it look like he's robotic, I'm going to put some extra lines on here, kind of like, not too dissimilar to what we did over at the top with our first robot when we very first started. But here we go. I'm going to put, following the curve of the hand and the glove, put something on like that follows that curve. And again, keeps going like that, okay? And when you colour that in different shades of grey, and it'll just make him look like he's a robot rather than an actual person there. Okay, so that's his arm. We need to give him his the rest of his body. Again, just to reiterate, if you wanted to do a woman head on him, absolutely fine, can do. We discussed this one earlier, so you know, you could do a nice gentle curvy head. I'm going to do a more square and manly one, but we need to give him a little bit where, say, he's going to have a cape or something underneath as well. So I'm going to put in, his chest going to come up like there. That's his chest. It's going to be in line with this. And at this point, I'm going to have a little V shape. This is where his cape's going to go. So that little V there is where the cape goes. And again, like I said to you, if you wanted to do a lady bosom, that's fine. For a bloke, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to have something that's a lot more square and angular, okay? So that's, again, just the other side of him. His head is going to be looking over this way towards our bad guy. And here we go. It's going to come across. Mine is going to go straight up. And it's pretty much in line with where his shoulder is. And then curving round. Now, I'm going to leave this guy bald because I don't think all superheroes have to have hair. And you guys can do the same if you want to, or if you want to give him hair. Again, I've done loads of tutorials over the past few weeks about how you can do hair. We're going to give him the same little squiggly eyes over on the left-hand side. So a little squiggle like this. So it goes down and then up, and then a tiny bit down at the end. And we'll put one eye there, one eye here. To make him look like he's got a really grumpy mouth, we start off doing a horizontal line. We go up, curl round, and then back down like that. And now he looks mad. Grrr. Some teeth as well to show he means business. And because we want to show that he's a robot, we're going to have bits here. It's kind of like a jigsaw almost, showing where his robot half stops and his human face starts. And to make him look extra robot-y, I'm going to draw some circles, and then I'm going to draw some lines coming off. And you can do as many or as few of these as you want. You can have some that go over onto his human side and connect him up. Okay, and there we go. We've got our robot dude. Okay. Right, finally and very quickly, we just need to finish his arm. So here we go, little circle here. Well, same size circle as his other hand. So he's got his other fist at the ready here. He's going to, as soon as he's fired his rocket, he's going to fire another one. So it's a nice round circle here, just in line with his chest. And we're going to have a glove coming off it. So it flicks out on either side. And we're going to join those up with a nice curve, like that. And his elbow wants to go to a point, like that, almost like a V. Okay, coming off. Just makes him look muscular. On the other side over here, we're going to put in the rest of his chest. So here we go. There we go. That's him looking like he's got himself a nice, you know, muscular body. And it's actually the easiest way to describe it. If you want to make somebody look muscular, you basically imagine their entire chest is one upside down triangle. So, you know, why am I so muscular? I'm just a stick man. I look muscular because I've got an upside down triangle for my chest. Okay, so upside down triangles are what it's all about in terms of the overall shape for making someone look muscular. And then we put in the little curve here for his shoulder and his bicep. Okay, super duper, guys. Right, final superhero, and this is the last one, and then we're done. For this one, guys, what we do, we have a lady floating in the sky. Okay, she's very, very easy to draw compared to all the other ones. She's probably the most simple. What we do to begin with, I would recommend that you do the head. If you want it to be a manly one, that's fine. If you want it to be a lady one, that's cool too. I'll move my bits and pieces out of the way. Remember, I'm going to do a lady one, and so the way that I'm going to do this is that she will have, she'll be looking ever so slightly down because she's so high up on the page. I'm going to be up here with her. I'm going to do this nice curve like so. And that is going to be the side of her face and her chin coming all the way back round. If it is manly, square and square. Okay. I'm going to draw her face here and her little eyes. Again, she's quite mad. So I'm just going to draw. It's not a straight line. It's got a little gentle curve going down on it like that. Again, she can have the same sort of face as our other hero. line, curves up, round, and then goes flat. And that gives us a mouth. And for this little lady, what we're going to do, I'm going to give, and you can do it for a man as well, I'm going to give above her head, she's going to have a stone. And this is where she gets the source of all her powers. Now, if you want to make it a diamond or anything, that's cool, that's up to you. But what we have to do is put a headband in that goes all the way from the top of her head round towards the back of her head too, like so. You could make it into a diamond stone or a ruby or an emerald. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that she has it attached to her forehead so that she can shoot her superhero powers and she can fly. That's where she gets the power from. We need to then do her hair, and I'm going to do some today by doing a little bit bigger than the rest of her head. You can see there, it almost looks like right now she's wearing a shower cap or something like that. But here's the reason why we've done that. At the back of her head, over here, I'm going to put in a little bobble, because superheroes have to tie their hair back, you see. Okay? And if they don't tie their hair back, they're in trouble. All the hair gets in their eyes. It's dreadful. Okay. Hi, Henry and Kent, by the way. Good to see you. Lovely to see you. Right. We're going to do this hair. And the way we do this last bit, guys, is that we do a big circle here. And it looks like it's going to be a perfect semicircle. But then it sweeps round, flicks up, and then comes back like that. Okay. So it's kind of like an S on its side, really. And all this hair that we've got, all of it is going to be aiming towards this bobble. And I'll show you what I mean. When I draw her hair in, it's going to be going, curving up like this. It's all curving back towards the head, and it's all going to this point here. And I'm going to put a couple of little extra bits here which show where her hair goes underneath there, and that's where her ear is. Okay. And then for her hair here, again, if you've done a bald-headed bloke, you'd have to worry so much about this. But again, we'll do it curving off, and it's going to make it look like it's all disappearing off towards this point at the back. Okay, like so. We need to give her a body, and the way we're going to do that is to literally, right underneath her mouth, right in the middle, we're going to draw a body that comes down, curves round, and comes back up. It's kind of like a U shape, but I'm going to stop it there because I need to leave some space here for where her hand is going to go. So there's going to be a big round circle right there, like this. We're going to do another glove like we did on our other superhero underneath. We do it by flicking it out like that and doing a curve on the back of it. And we have a little semicircle here, like so. And there we are. That's her back hand. She's ready to sort of launch that fist at the bad guy when she needs to. And then her forehand, which is going to be zapping him with the laser beam. And like I say, you can make this into whatever you want. This bit is super important. You might even want to get a pencil and draw a dotted line that connects up, or even get a ruler and draw a dotted line that connects up where this hand is going to be pointing so that it hits our bad guy. I'm going to do it a little bit thicker there. I think you guys can see that, look. Okay. And that's so important, because if you have the hand pointing the wrong way, it looks really weird. It won't look right when you then draw the zap over here. So here's how we do it. We take this line, the one that we've got there. I've done mine and I'll rub it out in a minute. It's just there in pencil. I'll draw this line here, like so. That is her hand, or sorry, her arm even, pointing towards it, and it's getting thinner towards the line. So there's half above and half below. It's getting thinner. And I'm going to do her glove, and to do that I need to do a big extra curve like that, just like we did over here. And then our glove, again, it's super important, it has to get thinner on both sides by going towards that line. And then we can do her hand. It's up to you. If you wanted to draw her with a fist like she's punching something towards him, that's fine. If you wanted to do it like she's throwing something, that's cool as well. I'm going to do it so it's almost like she's shooting it from her fingertips. That's the idea here. So to achieve that effect, I need to do a curve down like this. Like so, okay? And if you wanted to make it look like she has got super water powers, that is fine. The way that we would do this would be... Oh, hey, that's cool. I didn't realise I could put that over the top and you can still see it. If you want to do water powers, it's dead easy. All you do is wibbly wobbly effects like that. And then you have the water shooting out, and because it's water, it would have streaky lines across it. That would be her super water powers. I'm not doing water powers. I'm going to do her doing laser beams. And to do that, all you need to do is little squiggles like this. And all these lines are going to be coming out almost like they're zooming out from her hand, okay? And this is where she can then zap and do a bolt like this. And it's going straight down here. And it's going to hit all the way over here on our bad guy. Shazam. Oh no, I've been hit. Ah, curse you, Supergirl. Wait, Supergirl's probably copyrighted. I should probably go with a different name. Curse you, amazing girl. Zappy girl. Ow. Okay. And so there you go. She's now been, he's now been hit even by our superhero girl's thunderbolts. Okay. If you wanted to put a pattern on her, that's cool. I did a little Y-shaped one on mine, but you don't have to do that. You could do stripes, you could do dots, you could do a little curve here, and that would be, you know, separating her out and put a belt on her, whatever you want to do. I'll put a belt on her super quick. The belt will just be a little curve, like so, with a circle on. Okay, and you could have another diamond or whatever there, and that would work too. She's going to have her feet floating around behind her in a cape too. Capes are very... Oh, I forgot to give this guy a cape. I'll do that too. Feet and capes are very important. Try walking anywhere without your feet. You'll struggle, I won't lie. We will do a little curve here like this. And it's almost like a sausage shape. This is her foot. Okay? And to make it look like she's really giving it some welly, we're going to put her other foot behind like this. And it makes it look like she's really stretching forwards, like she's leaping. Okay? We then need to give this girl, I really feel like I need to give her just that little shape there. It almost looks like she's wearing a jacket now. I prefer that. I think that looks better. Maybe give her some little dots there as well. Yeah, I think that's nice. I like that. Okay, and then finally, the very last thing is her cape. So to achieve her cape, we need to do something nice and flowing, and it will obviously start up at her neck. And I'm going to draw it so that it's a big curve around the back of her elbow. And it wants to come to a point there, like that. And then, because cape's blowing the wind, we're going to join back up with this line, like that. It's almost like a banana shape. And then the rest of the cape is going to come here. It's going to disappear behind her foot for me. For you, it might not. It might be that your feet are all tucked in. And the cape goes lower. It wants to wiggle like that, and then go up. And that is your cape. This guy could do with a cape too. I forgot to give him one, so, you know, let's not feel left out, guys. So you can have a little thinner bit there. And again, his cape can be there like that. Okay. And there we have it, guys. We have now drawn... How many superheroes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 superheroes that are battling a bad guy. I'm not going to draw the 6th one because I want you to draw something else of your own creation that is in his tummy. And I will be awarding 2 books this week. I'm going to send 2 books out. One, which is going to be to the best superhero team that I see. It wants to be something creative and different and not identical to mine. I hope that you guys have maybe got, say, a super muscly girl instead of a super muscly guy. Or maybe you're going to have a robot that doesn't have this. Maybe he's got some kind of laser beam or something instead on his arm. It's up to you. I want to see something creative. And I'm going to give one to the best superhero team and also to the best item that is stuck in the monster's tummy. So I'm leaving it up to you guys to decide what it is there. But the super simple trick to make it look like it is stuck in his tummy is whatever you draw, do wibbly wobbly lines. You can see there, look, those lines are wibbly wobbly and they have gaps in them. That is how you make it look like something is stuck in his tummy. So whoever comes up with the best one can have a copy of my award-winning picture book, I Have an Orange Juicy Drink. Yes, you will get that completely for free. It will be delivered to your door via Royal Mail. And if anybody does want to get one of these, then you can always go to my website, which is www.shortandsmiley.com. Now, I have very much enjoyed that. Put your drawings on the website. Sorry, put your drawings on the website. Put your drawings online, and I will look for them on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram with hashtag #DrawWithAndy. So if you can do that, Draw with Andy, I will be able to find them, and I will be choosing who I think has done the best job. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I have had a great time with you today. I have found that massive fun. I can see somebody just saying, for one final time, can you show the man's head again? I've got the woman's head. I can't find where I've put the man's head. Where did I put it? I've dropped it. This is what happens when you're being creative in a small space. Here we go. There we go. But however you want to do it, whether you want to do lots of grumpy men that are saving the day or lots of beautiful women saving the day, it is up to you. I hope you've had fun. It's been wonderful, and I will see you guys again next week. Thank you so much. Take care, Annie and Emily and Leo and Ross and all the rest of you. It's been brilliant. All the best, guys. Thank you very much. I'll finish recording there. Bye-bye.